What's up, YouTube? So I got asked the battle of the coaches. Who did I prefer as a football analyst, announcer? Joe Gibbs or Jimmy Johnson? It's a pretty strong depth right here because you got two successful coaches who won multiple rings. Gibbs with Washington, and then of course Jimmy Johnson with the Cowboys, and they both had a unique perspective when they would do analyzing and how they critique. I think that they both are trying to blend in. One of the things about when you see coaches that are in these capacities, they have to be more disciplined. They can't really be as jarring or as abrasive or leading to certain things that they're notorious for. Now, Joe Gibbs always kind of came across kind of mild mannered, matter of fact, but he had a certain structure. But I never really ever saw him out of his cool because the man just pretty much, he's one of the most, I want to say unassuming, but he's a detailed results winning coach. He was actually probably the coach that I would say more was one of the most modernized coaches who never gets his due. When you win with three different quarterbacks for your team and you lead your teams to Super Bowls, he doesn't quite get the due he deserves. But that's another story, another video. But I thought he had a good balance of when he would be doing his presentations and his analytics. I thought he was very detailed, very matter of fact. Um, Nothing hyper, but nothing over the top or nothing. Joe Gibbs is pretty straightforward with everything that he does. So I never picked that vibe up from him at all. Never got that from him. I thought that, you pretty much like an everyday Joe type of thing. So never got anything that was off or conflicted there. Jimmy Johnson, very fiery, very passionate, intense. When on the TV, he would, when he's critiquing, he's looking at difference. He always made it a known fact that he treated his star players differently. I think most of them do it, but I think it's the way that he was so blatant with his thing. Um, had an interesting rapport. They each were working in the studios or doing commentary, and I thought they each hit in a different way. I think they both had a different, interesting perspective. But Jimmy Johnson had that kind of angle about him where you could definitely sense that kind of that certain type of rawness about him and the way he was. But make no mistake about it. I mean, he was, putting it, wearing his heart on his sleeve a lot of times, and so how he was trying to blend. And it really is. It's really one of the most vulnerable things that when you see former head coaches are in these studios or in these capacities as announcers, it's kind of like they're having to, making those adjustments. So I think that he did a really good job in that capacity and context. I think they both were engaging and they both had a way of presenting themselves. If I had to pick out the two, I probably would lean towards Joe Gibbs. I think that he was able to balance it out a bit more. It's kind of hard to when you say that because you're going to say that one guy is just basically doing his job a certain way, but it just is the way it comes across. I think that as a team player and as someone that has that innate ability to reach, I think he definitely, you could feel it with that. So I would have to lean towards Joe Gibbs just a little bit, but I think Jimmy Johnson's takes and critiques and analyzes were important. I think he definitely made himself very engaging, and eventually got into that role. It took a little time because he had that itch. You could always tell he was looking for a sideline, but I think he did a good job with making that transition from to announcing and what have you. So anyway, Joe Gibbs, Jimmy Johnson. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and your takes. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another, and share if you like. Hit the membership. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out one time. Peace.